You ever wake up in a room filled with silence, sunlight spilling across your bed, no one yelling, no one draining your soul with their needs, and for the first time, you feel alive? That silence is peace. That stillness is freedom. That moment right there is power. People will try to convince you that being alone means being lonely, but they're wrong. Living alone means owning your time, your mind, your energy. No more waking up to drama. No more compromising your dreams to please someone who doesn't even understand your vision. You see, freedom is not just some poetic idea written in books or sung about in songs. It's the air you breathe when no one is telling you what to do. It's the fire in your chest when you know the only person responsible for your life is you. And let's be brutally honest, when you're in a relationship, that freedom is the first thing to go. Suddenly your decisions aren't just yours. Your time isn't your own. Your weekends are booked with obligations. Your goals become filtered through someone else's feelings. You find yourself walking on eggshells just to avoid another pointless argument. And for what? So you don't feel lonely? That's not love. That's prison with good lighting. Living alone is the most underrated luxury in the modern world. You wake up, you decide what to do. No one questions your priorities. No one judges your grind. You want to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out? Do it. You want to work on your business until 3 a.m. with music blasting and coffee in your hand? Do it. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to defend your ambition. That kind of freedom is priceless. And don't get it twisted. Freedom isn't about avoiding responsibility. It's about owning your life so completely that no one else can hijack your destiny. People talk about compromise like it's noble. Like giving up pieces of yourself for someone else is something to be proud of. No. That's weakness disguised as virtue. Because what they really mean is kill your dreams quietly so someone else can sleep better at night. And that's not a life worth living. Compromise sounds nice until it costs you your purpose. Until you're sitting in silence wondering how the hell you ended up so far from who you wanted to be. You sacrificed your edge. You dulled your blade. And for what? To keep someone happy who didn't even ask what your mission was in the first place? This isn't about hating relationships. It's about realizing that most relationships are built on fear, not strength. Fear of being alone. Fear of facing your demons. Fear of growing in silence without someone cheering you on. But the truth is, no one's coming to save you. No one's going to drag you to success. It's on you. Living alone forces you to get real with yourself. It strips away the noise, the excuses, the distractions. You wake up every day and stare your potential in the face. And that pressure, that's what creates diamonds. That's what separates winners from the average. You'll be misunderstood. People will call you cold, selfish, arrogant. Let them. Let the weak stay confused while you build a life they can't even dream of. Because here's the secret. When you choose freedom over compromise, you become unstoppable. You become rare. And the world always fears what it can't control. So stop waiting for someone to understand your path. Stop watering yourself down for comfort. Stop bending so others don't break. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to stand alone, conquer alone, and rise alone. That's not isolation. That's independence. That's strength. That's freedom. And no relationship will ever compare to the fire that burns inside a man or woman who chooses themselves fully. You don't owe the world softness. You owe it your greatness. And that begins the moment you stop compromising who you are and start becoming everything you were born to be. People chase relationships to feel whole, thinking someone else will complete them. But here's the truth they don't want to face. No one's coming to save you. No one is going to heal you. That work is your responsibility. And when you live alone, you're finally forced to do that work. You start noticing your habits. You start recognizing your patterns. You realize how much time you've wasted on things that never served you. And that realization, it hits hard, but it sets you free. Because once you're honest with yourself, you can change. You can grow. You can become someone who doesn't just survive life, but dominates it. Living alone strips away the comfort zone. There's no one to lean on, no one to blame. You become the problem and the solution. And that shift in mindset is where self-mastery begins. You learn discipline because there's no one forcing you to be productive. You do it because you have to. You learn emotional control because you don't have anyone around to pacify your moods. You learn to regulate yourself as you stop reacting and start responding. You build structure in chaos. You create momentum from nothing. And in that process, you transform. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from the moments when you want to quit but don't. When you're tired, broke, stressed, and you still show up for yourself. When no one's watching and you still hold the standard. That's self-respect. That's mastery. And it builds something stronger than confidence. It builds certainty. The kind of certainty that can't be faked or taught. You earn it in the dark. You sharpen it in the silence. And when the world finally sees you, they think you just have it. They don't realize you built it brick by brick while they were too busy clinging to comfort. Living alone teaches you how to be everything you need. You become your own coach, your own motivator, your own strategist. You start reading more, not because it looks good, but because your mind demands it. You start training harder, not for vanity, but because your body is your engine. You eat better, sleep better, think better. All because you're finally listening to yourself. You're not influenced by someone else's insecurities or distractions. You're dialed in, focused, obsessed with becoming the best version of you, not for approval, but because that's what you owe yourself. And here's what happens when you truly master yourself. You stop needing anything. You stop chasing attention, validation, or temporary highs. You become whole. And in a world full of broken people looking for something to fill the void, that wholeness makes you unstoppable. You walk differently, talk differently. People feel your presence. They don't know why, but they sense it. You're in control, not just of your life, but of yourself. And that level of internal power, it's magnetic, it's rare, and it only comes to those who've walked through fire alone and came out stronger. So don't run from the silence. Don't chase company just to avoid discomfort. Use it. Let it forge you. Let it teach you. Because once you master yourself, there's nothing in this world you can't conquer. Relationships may offer support, but self-mastery gives you freedom. And in the end, that's what makes all the difference. There's a kind of peace that comes from not having to manage someone else's emotions every single day. A kind of silence that feels like victory. When you live alone, you're free from emotional liability, and that freedom is a weapon. You don't realize how heavy emotional responsibility is until it's gone. No more tiptoeing around someone's mood swings. No more apologizing for things you didn't do just to keep the peace. No more sacrificing your mental bandwidth to fix someone else's chaos. When you live alone, your emotions belong to you. Your peace is yours. Your mind isn't a battlefield anymore. It becomes your sanctuary. Relationships, especially the wrong ones, come with a price. And that price is your emotional clarity. 1 minute you're focused, grinding in flow, and the next you're caught up in a pointless argument, explaining something 100 times to someone who's not listening because they're too busy being triggered by their own insecurities. You start planning your life around someone else's feelings instead of your mission. You hesitate before making moves, afraid it'll cause friction. That hesitation, it costs you opportunities. It slows down your progress. It eats away at your ambition. And for what? So someone can feel a little more secure at your expense? When you live alone, your energy stops being scattered. You stop bleeding emotionally. You don't waste hours of your day trying to fix someone else. You don't have to be a therapist, a mind reader, or an emotional punching bag. You start realizing how powerful you are when you're not drained by constant emotional drama. You start protecting your mind like it's sacred, because it is. You guard your thoughts, your focus, your sanity. You finally get to build your life without interruption, without guilt, without emotional sabotage, disguised as love. And here's what most people don't understand. Emotional liability isn't always loud. It's subtle. It shows up as guilt, tripping when you're focused. It shows up as passive-aggressive comments when you succeed. It shows up as arguments right before big moments in your life. It's the hidden weight that makes you second-guess yourself, dim your light, play small just to keep someone else comfortable. Living alone means you don't owe anyone that anymore. You no longer have to manage reactions to your growth. You're not responsible for someone else's self-worth. You're free to evolve at full speed without dragging anyone along who's not ready. Solitude gives you emotional clarity. You start seeing things for what they are. You stop making excuses for people who refuse to grow. You stop entertaining relationships that feel like battles. You get sharp. Cold, maybe, but not cruel. Just focused. Just done with emotional liability. And that's when you truly start to live. Your emotions are no longer collateral damage. You channel them, you